Before we even get into the main topic, which is going over the aftermath of the Polygon sale and a lot of just the fear that video game journalists have in their voice right now, I wanted to kick this off because this is crazy to me. I mean, if you've been playing Xbox or PlayStation over the past, 2 decades, this is crazy. So Gears of War is going to PlayStation, which has been rumored forever, but now it's absolutely official. Gears of War Reloaded comes to PS5. It's also going to Steam on August 26th, remastered from the ground up. So a remake of a remake, because remember, they put Gears of War 1 remake or whatever they called it, I don't remember, on, was it Xbox One? Which I thoroughly enjoyed. This is my favorite one. I love Gears of War 1. Multiplayer, man, this was the reason I bought a 360, so it's crazy to me to see it on PlayStation. Now I totally believe that Halo collection is coming to PlayStation. What a time. What a time, man. So I'll be picking this up for sure. I love Gears of War 1. I had so many fun times in that multiplayer, playing with friends, so looking forward to going through that again. Now, let's get into Polygon. So Polygon having a little bit of a bad time right now, especially if you work there. They've been sold off to pretty much a clickbait farm. Had a mass gutting. A lot of people lost their jobs. And it also hit Giant Bomb. Jeff Grubb was fired. If you remember that Alyssa Mercanti video where she was telling people she wanted to fight them physically, he was clapping on right next to her. Well, now, like her, he's going to be working at Applebee's, probably not as a waiter, maybe a dishwasher or a line cook or something. And video game news rolls on. These people have signed their own death warrant because of the way they've acted. There's been a lot of resentment towards gamers. They've practically went to war with gamers. And now, the time has come. I mean, look at some of these articles and tell me that these people were doing a service to gaming. Wizards of the Coast, this is a Polygon article. Wizards of the Coast is addressing racist stereotypes in Dungeons and Dragons. While D&D reckons with its racist past, this actual play is way ahead of the curve. And then another one. Here's another one. I don't care if you landed a spacecraft on a comet. Your shirt is sexist. What? A Polygon article. And then he's fired. This is the guy that wrote that. Listen, man, it sucks losing your job. It does, but there's a reason the entire internet laughed when Polygon and Giant Bomb got gutted. They have made enemies of their clientele. You cannot run a business like that. So naturally, a lot of people got kicks out of it. And it's not just Polygon. This is a real article that dropped April 24th. The number of video game articles dropped by over 100,000 in Q1. Nobody's going to these sites anymore. Nobody cares. Nobody cares about any of these video game journalists or what they put out anymore. Everyone goes to YouTube or just goes to social media because you really don't even need them anymore. It used to be a time, before social media when these people were the ones that would talk to developers, but now developers can just go to social media and talk to you themselves. And you have easier consumption with YouTube. A lot of people can break down a lot of this news on their channels. And then you do still have some websites, but they're smaller, more run by Substack or Patreon. People do stuff that way, and they have their fan base. And that's just how it is now. The days of IGN and all these other sites, it's coming to an end. And they tried to run a model where they would make fun of you and call you incels or chuds, and you ran everybody off. I used to love the days, man. I remember getting like a electronic, Electronic Gaming Monthly or Nintendo Power, Game Pro. looking at snapshots of games from Japan and what's coming. Those were good times, but it's just times have changed. Just like comic books. Now people are making independent comic books, like myself. And I've got one out. There's a link in the description. You should check it out. It's called The Mighty Golden Patriot. Kind of going for a golden age comic book here. That's what we were trying to emulate with it. We got a fun story here with great art, and I think it's worth checking out. The covers, we got 4 of them, and it starts at $17. $17 for cover D, which I think is a pretty good price. We're not trying to break your wallet. We're trying to get this book in your hands as cheap as possible. So check it out. And, when you get it, post a review. I would love to know how you guys feel about it, because we aimed to make a comic that was fun, action-packed, and fun. And I think we succeeded. So check it out. Link in the description. So a lot of outlets are very mad about what happened with Polygon. The new owner says it's going to do what's right for Polygon by probably turning it into a clickbait mill full of AI articles. Probably nonsense, like what Polygon's good for, like calling shit sexist and stuff. That's what the site will probably devolve into. Kotaku's next, by the way. But now you've got outlets outright begging people to support them. Nintendo Life dropped this. I don't have anything against Nintendo Life. As far as I know, they've been pretty okay with covering the news. I don't remember a Nintendo Life article where they call anybody istophobes, but they're basically begging people to go and support these video game journalists. And a lot of them are some of the nastiest ones, like Jeff Grubb. Jeff Grubb out there clapping on for Alyssa McCunty, like she's some kind of hero. And really, she's one of the reasons why video game journalism has fallen into a shithole. She's a really good example of how bad things have gotten with video games. Trying to fight people all the time, suing people all over, like Smash JT, because all he did was call her out. But now you've got these articles basically begging people to read and support these people and turn off your AdSense and all this shit. So they're talking about the fact that there's a Nintendo console coming. Why are you shutting this off? Like these people would have even talked about it. They're too busy worrying about how many black people are in a video game to give a shit about Nintendo's console launch. So the layoffs in games and games media have become so commonplace that it doesn't come as a surprise to anyone to see gaming institutions crumble around us. It's just another week in the industry. We're a month away from a new Nintendo console launch, something we've been waiting for so long, and yet many of its critics' voices have many of the critic voices fans are most keen to hear have been deplatformed this week in circumstances that leave us, if not surprised, then thoroughly depressed and dumbfounded by the decisions taken by management at Fandom and Valnet. Well, they made these decisions because no one's reading this shit anymore. No one's reading this shit anymore. And the only fans they have are these activists that root for them for taking down the CHUDS, not video gamers. You ran them all off with your nonsense. You've ran them all off. So, Valnet's acquisition of Polygon, and I'm going to skip around this article because a lot of it's like kissing up to Jeff Grubb and Giant Bomb. Giant Bomb back in the day was actually a really good outlet. Not anymore, but when they first started, man, they were pretty legit. Sad to see what's happened to some of these outlets. Even IGN used to be legit. Like when Colin Moriarty was there, that was a good site. Not so much anymore. They're kind of like Kotaku light now. Then there's Valnet's acquisition of Polygon and the subsequent layoffs. It feels like a tentpole of modern games media falling. For over 12 years, the site's writers have consistently put out some of the best articles in the space. So the talent being thrown away with this round of layoffs is confounding. firing your most experienced staffers mere weeks before an important console launch suggests something about the standard of coverage these companies are interested in providing their audience. You might think they don't provide the audience what they want. Too busy talking about sexist t-shirts. Who gives a shit? Like, nobody cares about this stuff. And they went head first into this. They jumped right in, thinking that this activist angle they were providing gamers is what they wanted, and it was anything but the truth. And they all ignored it. They sat up in their ivory towers, sipping their Starbucks, and what happened? It crumbled to the ground. If you're a fan of these voices, from Giant Bomb or Polygon or any of the writers or creators who've suffered layoffs in recent times, remember, the vast majority are online, searchable, and crucially, supportable. They may or may not be on the platform you've previously found them on for years, but they're almost certainly out there doing great work. If you love that work and you're in a position to subscribe to their Patreon, or maybe send them some quid to Ko-Fi, or sign up as a supporter, please do so. Assuming that these sites and streams will just survive and that their creators can simply jump shit to a similar gig when the iceberg looms is wishful thinking. That's right. They're all going to go down, and Kotaku is next. I think Kotaku goes down this year. I do. It gets sold for pennies on the dollar. Pennies on the dollar, just like Polygon. Willing, but not in the financial position to send your hard-earned cash to a bunch of writers and podcasters and streamers? Hey, as anyone working in games media will tell you, it's tough out there. There's no shortage of good causes in need of support these days. Remember, not downloading and listening to the podcasts in the free feeds, watching streams, and turning off ad blockers on sites, like this one, for instance, makes a big difference. So, begging people to go read these outlets. I follow Nintendo of America and all these things on social medias, and when they drop something, I see it right away. And that's part of the problem. I don't need to go to Nintendo Life, and I'm not trying to slight Nintendo Life other than this goofy article. I'm sure maybe they put out good work. I don't see anything on here about nonsense. But the fact of the matter is, Polygon is shit. Has been shit for a long time. Kotaku is shit. Giant Bomb is shit. IGN is shit. All these outlets do is try to pretty much parrot a lot of the mainstream shit like CNN and stuff. All of them are activists. There's no diversity of thought at any of these places. And, it's been a long time coming. Revenue has dried up. You don't have a lot of this revenue coming in, a lot of this funding and grants that they've been getting to keep going. All that's dried up. And now they truly do need ad revenue and all this other stuff. And it's just not coming in anymore. And that's why Polygon is worthless and got sold to a clickbait mill. And it's going to continue to get worse for all these outlets. But anyway, let me know what you guys think about all of this in the comments. Also, if you would, please like, subscribe, share the video, hit that notification bell. Check out my comic. Link in the description. And we'll see you on the next one. Peace.
The year is 1945. World War II rages from the halls of Buckingham Palace to the shores of the Nile River. Even now, the clash between freedom and tyranny is about to boil over. Somewhere in North Africa, two American flyboys are soaring high on a reconnaissance mission, searching for clues to a peculiar new obsession with the occult gripping the Nazi high command.